we should have seen them coming. Because they've been coming at us for thousands of years so far. 2000 BC to be exact is when we first see the movements out of these mountains. 2000 BC. This is where, in the city of Edessa, where we'll talk about it, the ancient city of Ur. The ancient city of Ur is where Abraham and his father Terah left. And that's what started the destruction going from west to east. Where they say that God gave them the right to kill all the Africans in this part of the world. You know, this whole concept of manifest destiny, that they had the right. They were told by God they had a right to kill these people because these people had to leave, and this was the land that God had promised them. Hey, they're saying it today, so it's not like it's anything different. They're saying the same thing today. America says the same thing today. They say that God told them to kill all those Indians. Manifest destiny. They said it. Oral Roberts said that God told him that if his followers didn't give him $1 million, God was going to kill him. And he's still alive, so he got that million. So you see, the principle that I'm working at is that we are living in illusion, and we're allowing them just to tell us anything. They're playing us. And we're just letting it happen. And what I'm saying is that you present this information, if it makes a common sense to you. See, this is why I never go by trying to convince or persuade. I try to make us think. And I try to lay it out in a chronology that you can see one step in front of the other. Because if you can see the common sense approach to how we find ourselves in this position, you can backstep out of it too. But you can't backstep out if you don't know what the step behind you was. And so it's important that we look at this closely, because they've been doing this for thousands of years. This is nothing new. They just get more sophisticated. They developed a new kind of serfdom, a new kind of feudalism. There's a new feudalism in America. They never stopped being feudalistic. They were never democratic. This election proved that. And when you look at how many people own all the land, that's the feudal system. That's the serfdom. The feudal lords. Really what you're dealing with more than anything else is only by matter of degree. And one of the saddest things to say is, we as a nation will never move forward until we take care of the problem. And that's the bottom line. You can see it. They're destroying the planet. And then I'll come here. I just want to say one thing. As African folk, we are one of many groups of people, if you look at us individually now, that they have destroyed, or attempted to destroy, attempted to hurt, attempted to maim, to enslave. There are many groups they've done this to. But now let's get out the human family and look at what they do to animals. Let's get out of the animal system and look at what they do to the earth, the sky, and the water. Everything they touch, they destroy. I would say free radical. Yes, I would say that they are. Those that perpetuate this system are the cancers of the society. They are the parasites. They are the ones, and you notice I'm not necessarily throwing out a color on this. I know where it started, I know what we're dealing with, and I'm not trying to move away from that. But there are a couple of us that have bought into this. And everywhere that I see our history, wherever we are, from Kemet to the Moors, to the Caribbean, to today, whenever you see them take advantage of us, if you take one step back, you see us fighting amongst ourselves. They could never do this if we didn't fight amongst ourselves. It is to their best interest to keep us fighting each other, whether it be over our, like the Williams syndrome, color of the skin color, the hair texture, the width of the nose. Okay, now we could have brothers and sisters got every different kind of look, yet we in our own families sometimes have these divisions. But I'm not going to say that to take away from the original problem. And the original problem is the way in which peoples of European descent descended back down into the southern lands, and the ways in which they went to war with the peoples of color. And one of the wars that we're focusing on this time are the Crusades. My brother, please.
I just wanted to ask you, which one of the maps was the world known as Asia? Which period of time? From these maps to this map, maybe there's another map underneath that the world was considered Asia.
I am not too fluent in that, because I've not really come upon information when the world was considered Asia. I've seen places where the world was called things far more generic or open than calling it a name. like I know Ptah. I've heard it called a lot of different things, but I personally, and I'm sure it has been called Asia, because I've heard a lot of different information on that, but I'm not too fluent on that. Does anybody else have an answer to that? Because if you do, please, because like I'll tell you in a minute, I don't know everything. And that's one of my strengths, because I'll tell you when I don't.
I don't have an answer, but the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught that. You know.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where that comes from.
Okay. Did he give a time limit to it? Because if I could know the time limit he gave it, I then might be able to tell you what math might be. Was he talking about ancient times?
Ancient times, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, the Asiatic background.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the oldest continent because the other continents are new continents.
Okay.
Okay, Africa, the name Africa as a continent is no more than about maybe, it was from the conqueror Scipio Africanus. But it was Carthage when Hannibal was around.
Okay.
Just like North America, South America, Central America. That name is only 500 years old from South America.
Okay.
North America ain't but 200 years old. So before that, there wasn't but one continent that was Asia outside of Australia.
Okay.
So if you want to know where that starts, you have to find out who named Australia.
Okay.
Or what conqueror, then you'll know that Asia was the world.
Okay. Because one thing I know is that Austral means south.
All right.
That's why you have Australopithecus. Australopithecus means the southern person. In the Afro-Arabic language, Zanj, I believe, would mean that. But I know that Ptah was called landmass to the Kemites. It was what Geb is another name for the earth itself, but the landmass might have been called something. Okay. So this is the expansion of Islam. Now, with the understanding of the yes, please, Brother.
What I found interesting when you were talking about the role of women in Spain,
Yes.
because I remember like the books or something. I think there's a traveler, African traveler, Ibn Battuta.
Yes.
As he traveled to the West Africa, and he saw it in various cities, and he saw how independent these women were, and that they owned their own businesses, and it was blowing his mind. He wasn't used to that.
Yeah.
He mentioned that in his books, Ibn Battuta.
Yeah.
We all traveled century there was.
And you know, when you have a trusting society, there is no better person to put your trust in but the woman,
That's right.
because she is the center of the society.
So like as he traveled west, he saw that these women were more connected to the whole Kemetic tradition.
Exactly. Okay.
You know, and so that's a whole issue of something somebody would need to put out a book.
Exactly. And be very serious about the discussion, because we're living during times where, again, that Willingdon syndrome includes the men against the women. The one way for us never to be able to move forward is by the destruction of the relationship between the adult male and female. I've often said we don't have a problem. America is our problem. We just act off of that problem. I'm not saying that everything is wonderful between men and women of African descent, but I'm saying that being a woman isn't the center of the problem. Maybe your personality, maybe the brother's personality, but there is no inequality in the law. That's what the Native Americans told the colonialists when they were plagiarizing their document. The Native American Haudenosaunee had a document. And they said, how could you even think to have a democracy when your women are enslaved? They couldn't fathom how you could possibly have a society and a functioning society and the women treated like that. Native Americans said one thing he noticed was that when he would eat, that it would be the Native American man and woman and the European man eating. And then at the end of the meal, he noticed that the European woman always ate with the dogs. And not eat physically with dogs, but they ate at the time that the dogs ate. You know how you
After
throw...
everybody's finished.
Yeah, exactly.
What's left over.
Exactly. What the leftovers went to women. This was in colonial times. This wasn't... It's still going on today. It's just happening in a different way. It's sophisticated now. See, this is sophisticated barbarism. It's still barbarism. It's just sophisticated. This last election was a sophisticated, peaceful coup. A high-tech coup. That was a coup that they did there. Even Robert Mugabe said he thinks he's going to come to the next elections to observe. So the expansion of Islam becomes another important piece to look at in terms of, and then the final are the Crusades. The Crusades started approximately, they really started approximately 1095. Please keep in mind what's going on here. The Moors have already been in here for hundreds of years. They've been in here